Here is the new Panigale V4R. The R is for race, and like its predecessor, it will form the basis of the Ducati Superbike race bike next year, and so, unlike the other V4 Panigales, has a 998cc engine to comply with the World Superbike rules. The engine is MotoGP derived, being a 90-degree V4 with counter-rotating crank, twin pulse firing order and Desmo valves, which lift 1mm higher on the inlet on this new V4R. Despite having a smaller engine than the other Panigales, it is the most powerful, 240.5 horsepower at 15,500 RPM, although that is with the full race exhaust and Ducati Corsa oil, which was specially developed with Shell for high performance and low friction. In road legal form, it can achieve a still huge 218 horsepower at the same 15,500 RPM with 82 pound-foot at 12,000 RPM. The rev limit is 16,500 RPM, which is achievable in 6th gear. Please be aware that in the United States, Canada and Mexico, the road legal power figure is reduced to 207 horsepower at 13,500 RPM, I guess due to a more stringent exhaust being needed to meet government regulations or something along those lines. Still, regardless, if you want to take the V4R onto its natural habitat of the racetrack, you can rip that road legal system off and fit the free-breathing Aerodynamics titanium race system to give 237 horsepower at 15,500 RPM. Then if you give it an oil transfusion for the Ducati Corsa Shell special stuff, Ducati tell us you will unlock that ballistic 240.5 horsepower figure. How much is the titanium race system that unlocks all that extra power? I'll show you in a moment, when we'll also take a look at the price of the new V4R. But first, here are 11 ways the new V4R is better than the old one. Hello and welcome to Moto Chatter. Let's dive into the details. For the first time in a road bike engine, the new V4R has diamond-like carbon-coated pistons, as per MotoGP and Formula 1. This reduces friction, allowing the pistons to glide more freely, and they are also 5 grams lighter too. The titanium connecting rods have a small oil jacket drilled into them to aid lubrication in the most efficient way, also helping to increase performance and, perhaps more importantly, reliability. The new dry clutch on the V4R has been developed by Ducati Corsa in World Superbikes and is around 800 grams lighter than the previous one, weighing in at just 811 grams or around 1.8 pounds. As with the rest of the new Panigale V4 range, the V4R gets the new gear ratios, with 1st, 2nd and 6th gears being the same as the World Superbike race bike. The gear ratios are longer, allowing 1st gear to be used for more corners, providing better engine braking and corner exit acceleration, as well as less drop in revs when shifting between 1st and 2nd gears. The longer 6th gear allows the bike to take advantage of the extra power available and gives more top speed. The new V4R has an adjustable swing arm pivot, allowing 4 levels of adjustment at 2mm increments, meaning you can further dial in the chassis depending on which track you're at, and depending on how you set it up, it can provide an anti-squat effect too. The new V4R benefits from the new electronics package rolled out on the Panigale V4S and V4SP2 earlier this year. There are 4 ride modes: full, high, medium and low, full and low and new modes, with low limiting power to 160 horsepower and 4 being track only, where the power and torque is only limited in 1st gear. The new package includes individual torque maps for each gear, a revised quick shifter for smoother changes, engine braking control Evo 2 for increased stability under braking and corner entry. This has 3 levels of adjustability in each gear. There is the MotoGP derived Track Evo mode for the display, which clearly displays track important information and highlights in real time which of the assistance systems have been used, helping you to fine tune your bike setup. These are the highlights of the package, but for more details on the new electronics package, check out my video on the Panigale V4S, link at the end for you. The new V4R also has a new 50% more compact throttle control, which Ducati say results in virtually no initial idle travel at the throttle, and there is even a pit lane limiter too. The Öhlins TTX36 rear monoshock has hydraulic preload adjustment and is now 4mm longer than previous. This, coupled with the setting +1 on the swing arm pivot, raises the rear height of the bike by 20mm. This increases the centre of gravity, making the bike more nimble in change of direction. The spring stiffness has also been reduced from 105 Newtons per millimetre to 80 Newtons per millimetre too. The Öhlins NPX 2530 fully adjustable forks now have 5mm more wheel travel. Ducati tell us this results in lower ground load on the front, and coupled with the softer spring at the rear should enable the wheels to trace the track surface better, maintaining surface contact and grip. It should also improve weight transfer in both directions too. The brushed aluminium tank is still here, but now increases in size by 1 litre to 17 litres or 4.49 US gallons. So you get some extra grace between the fuel stops or some extra laps before having to visit the pit lane. As with the rest of the V4 Panigale range, the fairings have been updated, now providing for better arm and leg support under acceleration, particularly along the straights. In addition, they have more venting on the lower fairing to improve cooling, and the V4R is complete with Ducati Corsa logos here too, which is something you don't get on the rest of the range. Along with the fairing modifications, the seat has been made flatter, which allows for more ease of movement on the bike and makes it easier to slide back and get tucked in down the straight. Another modification rolled out across the range is the update to the wings. They are now lighter and more compact, but still more aerodynamically efficient despite the reduction in size. They can produce significant downforce too. At 270 km an hour or 168 miles per hour, they produce 30 kilos or 66 pounds of downforce. And at 300 km an hour or 186 miles per hour, this increases to 37 kilos or 81.5 pounds of downforce. All this downforce is said to provide high speed stability as well as stability under braking, and reduces power wheelies, which in turn allows for less electronic assistance and improved performance and lap times. The new Panigale V4R weighs in at 172 kilos or 379 pounds dry. That's with the road legal exhaust. It's 5 kilos lighter at 168 kilos or 368 pounds with a titanium race system fitted. It should be noted as well that if you are only wanting to take your V4R on track, then there is an optional track-only traction control package available, the DTC Evo 3, which is specially configured for slicks and rain tyres and includes flashing rain lights and a rain mode instead of street mode. So what does it all cost? Well, here you go. It isn't cheap, but then it doesn't need to be. Ducati don't need to sell a lot of them, and its main purpose is to create a solid base from where they can win the World Superbike Championship next year. For the first time, the Panigale V4R is a numbered production run. It's not limited, although don't expect there to be a lot of them, but you do get a numbered plaque on the top yoke so you can see where yours was in the run. The Aerodynamics race system isn't cheap either, but does chop 5 kilos off at the scales and releases a lot more horses to the rear wheel. It also comes with dedicated mapping for the traction control, wheelie control, launch control and slide control, so all systems are set up for the extra performance available. The wheels on the Panigale V4R are forged aluminium, but if you want to save 700 grams or 1.5 pounds of unsprung mass at each end, you can go for the forged magnesium wheels, which will cost you this much. So the new Panigale V4R is expensive, but then you expected that. It is likely that Ducati will win the World Superbike Championship this year and probably next year too. So you are buying into a piece of that with the V4R, and Ducati have to find the money for Alvaro Bautista's win bonus checks from somewhere. To be fair though, the V4R is only a handful of thousands more than the track special V4 SP2, and to say it is the base for the race bike and probably a championship winning race bike as well, with the World Superbike special 998cc engine configuration and its exclusivity, if you have the money to spend and you're in the market, it might actually make sense. For more on the cheaper alternative V4 SP2, click here, or for more detail on the new Panigale V4S, click here. Please do like and subscribe if you like the video, there are more on the way. In the meantime, have yourself a great day, and as always, thanks for watching.